The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Break. We're back here live. The weather is really, really cold, but the guys are still out there practicing. But before we get into injured players and who was at practice and who wasn't, how about Leighton Vander Esch with winning NFC Defensive Player of the Week? Anyone surprised?
Is it rookie defensive player, right?
No.
Or is it defensive player?
NFC Defensive Player of the Week. The Wolf Hunter.
Wow,
Yeah, good
that's
for him.
huge.
They gave him
Surprise.
19.
That's huge.
Yeah, that is
tackles.
pretty big.
They
19
gave
tackles.
19 tackles.
It's busy. How many plays? How many total plays were there? So that's like maybe a third.
78. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like maybe a third, maybe a quarter.
You know, the interception he had it helped. I'm sure it helps his stat line, but I mean, and that was a nice play in the game for him. Led to a field goal, but it was the tackles. I think it was being all over the place, and it was that late tackle that kind of helped seal the win.
Actually, I think it's the opposite. I think the interception is what gets you noticed, and then it's like, oh crap, he also had 19 tackles.
Yeah.
And oh wow, he made the play of the game at the end.
Chris
of the
Collinsworth probably helped him.
Yeah.
Because
I think I said that Monday. It's like, which, no disrespect, the interception was like the least impressive of the big plays he made. The tackle on the third and the 5-yard loss was amazing. Way more impressive than the pick, in my opinion.
It definitely helps though when you're looking around the league and when other guys they got submitted. Like, what about our guy? He had 2 picks and 6 tackles and like this guy had 19 tackles and an interception. Like, oh, okay, it definitely helps your stat line. You want to have things all across.
And
the
those
board.
kind of things in big games or nationally televised games. I'm talking about the interception and the big hit and the final tackle. Those two things are the things that get you into Pro Bowl consideration. That kind of
Got
stuff.
to get on the ballot, but
Yeah, it's kind of strange. But
first rookie since Sean Lee, which is ironic since he's replacing Sean Lee in the lineup, and everyone thinks he is the next Sean Lee. First rookie since Sean Lee to win that award for the Cowboys.
very nice.
Wow. Very impressive, especially with him being your first round pick. That is the kind of stuff you want to see from the guy that you choose in the first round.
Yeah.
And not have to wait for some kind of development, which, like, going back to, for example, Taco Charlton, when he was first selected and the kind of growth he had to make there. And speaking of him, we'll get into...
Has to make. Yeah.
Well, he made some improvement,
Right.
but it's still,
But for those people, and if there were some out there, if there were people out there that questioned the pick on Leighton Vander Esch, then I think that they're getting proved wrong just by every game. So
Yeah, true. Good of you to admit that.
I didn't like the pick. I didn't really, and mainly because it was already out there. Brian basically said that was going to happen like 3-4 weeks before. It was like it was somebody else.
3-4 months.
It was way out there, and it was like,
Brian,
give me somebody different. Somebody that's played more than 1 year of football at Mountain West. I wanted someone else, but I was wrong. I
wanted Derwin James up until he got selected. And then when he got selected, I was like, whatever.
You're fine with that?
Just take who you want.
And
I wanted
Derwin
James, but if you're not going to take him, whatever.
And we'll talk. I guess today we'll talk about Ridley. And like a lot of people wanted him, and he's done some great things too. And you could make the argument, would he have done as well here? But man, hard to argue what they've done, especially with knowing that Sean's been hurt twice. I mean, that's good foresight.
I mean, it has worked out even more beautifully than I think even they would have predicted. Mm-hmm. I actually had that conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, clearly y'all thought this would happen, but I don't know if anybody could have predicted it would happen this fast. Yeah.
And perfect timing, I guess, especially with what goes on with Sean Lee, but also Jalen Smith and the time that he finally was able to step up and start playing at a higher level than, obviously, what we were expecting for him to hopefully get to. Now we're seeing that, and the combination of him and Leighton together clearly makes an explosive team.
And a risky move for the Cowboys that offseason because they decided to let Hitchens go and hope that Jalen Smith turns the corner, which he has, and hope to get some help in the draft, even though you didn't know you're going to go first round, but just hope to get somebody that's able to help. and they were able to do that. So,
and the thing I love the most about these two is that they're both bigger guys. They're big linebackers. So if that can translate into them being healthy, relatively healthy, like a lot of people will try to compare a duo like that to the one there in Carolina with Kuechly and what's the guy's name?
Davis,
yeah. And the difference there is that Kuechly. Tough part about Kuechly is that he has a lot of injuries. Like he's a guy that tends to be injured a lot. If these guys, because of their size, can manage to stay healthy, I think they have possibilities. I mean, the possibilities are endless with how good they can be for this team for quite a while.
I think those two are better at pass coverage. Davis, I believe, was a safety at Georgia. I mean, I believe, or at least he was kind of the tweener type guy. So they're really good in the pass. And we've seen Kuechly make great interceptions and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. These guys are more physical run stoppers.
Yeah. And I think they're just as athletic. Maybe they have to develop that part of their game, but I think they're very athletic.
True.
This is tangentially related to that, but just thought about it because you brought up Anthony Hitchens. I don't think we talked about it. The club's decision to release Deontay Thompson on Friday, they are in line to now get a comp pick back because of that. I'm not going to sit here and try to sort out the math with you, but I've talked to people in the building, which and this is a rumor that's gone around for like a month or so now that, you brought in Thompson as a free agent. So you're always weighing who did you lose and who did you gain and how much money did the guys you lost get and how much money did you pay? Whatever. Like I said, I can't make sense of the formula, but point being, Deontay Thompson is off the roster by the start of Week 10, which means they officially brought in fewer than they lost. And because Anthony Hitchens signed such a big deal, the Cowboys are fairly confident that they're going to get a fourth-round pick back for that contract now.
That would be huge.
And they're at least somewhat optimistic that they might even get a sixth too. So, you wonder about that. That's part of the reason why they cut.
Fourth is huge. Yeah.
So, again, I don't think even the guys on the football side of the building completely understand the comp pick formula. Like the NFL, it's a hush-hush deal. But the Cowboys are in line to get at least one, if not two picks back because of that, so that's big news.
And I asked Stephen Jones 2 weeks ago, why are we seeing more trades? What is the reason? He said it's because we're starting to understand the compensatory pick scale a little bit more and understand about how you can make this trade and you're going to lose the player, but you probably get the pick. Or you'll lose the pick, you'll get the player, but you'll get the pick back. That's kind of what Philly did with Golden Tate. So that understanding the compensatory thing is kind of changing some of this. It's pretty good though.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about safety in a while, so let me bring it up. Clearly a position that still needs to be addressed next year, I believe so. But do you guys feel that how these linebackers are playing, that is taking off somewhat of a little bit of the weight on the safety position and kind of balancing out between the negatives and the positive?
Well, let's be fair for a second, too. And I mean, I'm not ready to anoint him as the future starter at safety for the next 5 years, but Xavier Woods played a great game the other night. Like, I come out of that game feeling nice. Like, I'm not losing sleep about the safeties. And we talked about it plenty. They had a really rough stretch from Seattle to Houston. Like, those 3 games, it was not good. But they've played well since. Xavier Woods and Jeff Heath probably aren't going to the Pro Bowl, but I think they've been good. And I think you're right. The pass rush and the linebackers have probably helped account for that. The cornerbacks, too, for that matter.
Yeah.
I think, when Byron more so than Cheeto, but when your cornerbacks can hold down the main receiving threats without a ton of help, I think it makes life easier on your safeties.
And that's the thing. And from doing the draft show and following the draft so closely, you can't fill your team, like every position can't have top picks, right? There's some areas where you're gonna have to get some wins from guys that are unexpected. And safety might be that position for the Cowboys. They may feel like, hey, we've invested a lot in our linebackers. We invested a lot. They will probably in this offseason invest a lot in their pass rusher. They feel like they invested a first-round pick in their cornerback, one of their cornerbacks. And so they may look at it and say, hey, right now, defensive tackle, let's say, might be a bigger concern for them than safety. And safety is going to be that position where we feel like if we have moderate players that are kind of middle of the pack, when you combine them with really talented players at other positions, they're more than adequate to be able to have a really great defense. So you just can't have great everywhere, and maybe what they're going to find out is that these safeties suffice for what they're asking them to do in this defense with this combination of players.
Okay.
Still would be.
I agree.
Which I'm not jumping off the bandwagon with you just for whatever that's like. I would like to try to upgrade the talent at safety, especially, Jeff Heath has one more year left on his deal, but you're always thinking about the future. Kayvon Frazier has one more year after this, so still something they should look at. But I think they've played pretty well for the most part over the last month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, looking at it as overall as all the games that they've played so far, and you guys basically just said it now, and you got to be aware. But again, you can't always rely on other players to, make this position, bring it up higher and better. You always have to be aware of what you have and what they can do. And so far, they've been okay. Mm-hmm. Nothing that's like losing you games. Of course, that's the offense job right now.
Yeah.
That's doing that for you. But as far as the defense, they've done really good.
But I will say this too: there's a particular safety that's probably going to be a free agent this offseason. He's coming off an injury, but
I'm just going to steal Nick's thunder.
I'm just going to say, I didn't say the name. I was going to let Nick go there, but I mean, I think that's still in my mind. If I were making the decisions, that would still be a possible play for me. Is that I go and look into free agency and see what I can find in free agency as far as veterans are concerned that might come in here and elevate the level of play. I think it might be sufficient right now, but can you get a guy that can actually turn some of those pass defenses into interceptions? That can make a big difference for your defense. Right?
Wow.
It's too early to talk about that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take an early break. When we come back, we'll discuss Cowboys injury, and then we'll get into the Falcons offense.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
Welcome back to the break. This is the second segment. Okay, so 2 of us stayed in the warm, 2 of us didn't. Those 2 decided to go out to practice.
Didn't decide to do anything. That's our.
You decided.
That's our.
When you decided
job.
to take the job, you decided to do
watched
that.
from the window.
Yeah.
You could have watched from the window.
I decided.
Can't see.
Because I don't know. I don't always make that call.
You can't see as well.
Nick's like, sometimes I go, sometimes I'm not.
You can't see as well.
The point is, you were both out there in the cold watching what was going on. So I wanted to talk about some of these players that have been banged up a little bit. Who wasn't out there?
Half the defensive line.
The whole D-line, yeah.
It's Wednesday, and understand this is the day where if they're going to have a day of rest or the day of recovery, this is the day to do it. But looking at Malik Collins, Taco Charlton, David Irving, Daniel Ross, and maybe Antoine Woods.
Yep.
What happened to him?
I don't even know.
I don't know, but
no
he
one
wasn't
knows
out there.
that. And there was 3 guys in hoodies way on the side, but his body type's different than others, and you could tell that was him.
Yeah. Oh no, he
you mean by that?
came out.
He looks different than other players, so you're like, who's kind of big and husky like that? Then he's not
Husky,
over
I
there.
like that word. I haven't heard that in a
Portly,
while.
husky. Yeah. You know.
Okay, well, out of those, who are the most concerning ones?
I mean, I don't. We'll see, but I don't get a super good feeling about David Irving still.
Yeah, and Malik. I mean, like all of those, because if you don't get a good feeling there, then what do you think about Malik? And he did come back in the game, and that's always a good sign. Right. But Ross, he got hurt in pregame warmups or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the deal with that? Did anyone ever ask that question? Like, when did he actually get hurt?
Garrett said it happened during pregame warmups. I could have sworn I saw him.
He wasn't in the middle of all that. Hope that didn't happen.
Got it. Kind of. What happened? What's the injury?
Calf.
Yeah.
So
strain a calf in pregame
Yeah, he
warmups.
walked in the game. I mean, to the sideline with crutches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it
was
you got
significant.
Those 3
Yeah,
tackles, and you got Taco, and then who else did we say? The defensive lineman. I don't know. Irving,
Taco,
Ross.
Irving, Ross, Woods, and Malik.
Yeah.
It's mainly interior guys and Taco. So
you are defensive tackle. Just seems to be that position where they just seem to keep guys on the injury report.
They brought Aziz Shatu. That's his name. Don't
bless you.
Aziz Shatu. They brought him back to the practice squad. They had an open spot. They were going to bring Treston Deku back, but their D line is decimated. So
they do have Karan Reed, right?
They do.
Yeah, he's on the
Ringo.
Christian Ringo's on the practice squad too.
Ringo.
So it's something to watch. Like, this is a situation where obviously it's only Wednesday. We always say that, but if a couple of these guys don't improve, you're in a situation where you might have to call somebody up over the weekend. So that's something to watch.
They can always slide Crawford down tackle, right?
Yep,
that's an option.
But I mean, 5 guys. I mean, if you need at least 2 or maybe even 3 of those guys to get back. So something to watch. Zach Martin didn't practice today. That's Romo Wednesday, as far as I'm concerned.
He said he's going to be managing this knee the rest of the year, right?
Exactly.
So.
And I mean, we've seen it with Tyron Smith, who I also believe wasn't there, which we haven't seen that recently. But again, that's Tyron Smith. Like, if he needs a Wednesday to manage his back or whatever's ailing him, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Something to keep an eye on.
So who did practice?
Well, there's one more guy that didn't practice, and Tavon Austin, and no surprise there. But if these defensive linemen, if we can't get all of them back, and you're gonna have to make a move here. I mean, they've still always been flirting with the idea of putting Tavon Austin on injured reserve. I don't really know how close he is to coming back or not, but I'm just saying that's one move.
I heard
that could happen.
Still a couple of weeks away from being able to practice. Which, I mean, we'll see if injuries.
I would really.
So that's also why you hold him, maybe, is because if maybe they're thinking playoffs,
see him with
then they're thinking that then they're thinking maybe you get to mid-December, he's back, and if you need a game to get in the playoffs, then he's your guy to be able to help you get over that hump. Maybe
Tavon has already scored a 65-yard touchdown going north, vertical deep ball. Jordan Lewis is not going to do that. He's not going to go and run a route and do all that stuff. So him being out there really doesn't worry you that much, because he's going to go that way. Maybe he gets the ball, maybe he doesn't. But Tavon can do different things, and so I think that's why it's important to have that guy in doing those jet sweeps, somebody that can scare you another way. See, Lucky never really went vertical either.
Very rarely.
So it's nice to have a guy with that body type, but I would rather somebody who's run a route before.
That's it. I mean, they only do it like twice a game, so I don't. But can Michael Gallup not do that? So, I don't understand.
Him or Amari Cooper, right?
Why do they have to specialize it? Like, and it's kind of like a reporter asked Jason Garrett about that on Monday. Is like, don't you worry about giving yourself away when you put Noah Brown in the game and it's always a run? Don't you worry? Like, is anybody taking Jordan Lewis seriously as anything other than a decoy or a jet sweep?
How about that answer?
Yeah.
What was the answer?
He said, he's like, well,
it's a good thing.
He's pretty much implied that they're setting that up to throw the ball when Noah Brown's in the game.
Tendencies aren't always a bad thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Which my first thought was Lucky Whitehead.
You got to do that first, though. You got to prove to people you can take advantage of it.
At some point, you got to prove
Remember that Green Bay game where Lucky Whitehead?
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty.
He'd been like motioning down into the line of scrimmage for like 5 or 6 weeks. Like, why? Who's he blocking? And then one time he just snuck out,
and there you go.
And it was a big play.
Yep.
But That's what it's always driven me. I mean, I didn't want to make this comment. It's a very Nick comment, but you're talking about Tavon Austin. I'm like, well, are they going to do anything with him when he comes back anyway? Because I mean,
you're right.
Lucky Whitehead averaged 10 yards per carry when he did that stupid thing, and everybody knew it was coming, and it still worked. And so it drives me crazy that they just seem reluctant to do it this year. Yeah. Anyway. What were we talking about? Everybody's hurt.
So who practiced?
Garrett,
the other guys.
He's so good at masking things. It's just like giving those answers that respond to you, but don't really say much.
I don't hang out with a lot of people that went to the Ivy Leagues, like not even like just students from the Ivy League. But I would imagine if you had conversations with them, I mean, they're going to be like, did you get that at Midwestern State? Like, because I went to Dartmouth, or whatever.
I actually
You think that big boy you like that?
I do have.
I think so, and I think if I was in the Ivy League, I probably would too.
I have 2 friends that went to Cornell, and they're smug jerks. So,
Andy Bernard types.
Yeah, absolutely.
But wait, hold on.
At Cornell.
Are you really drawing a distinction between smug jerks and
me?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like,
I'm a smug jerk without the nice degree, basically.
So it wasn't about the degree. It's just you hang out with smug jerks because it's birds of a feather, right?
I was going to say.
But Dave does it with your college football team. Like, if you didn't, like, so how'd you like that conference title 12 years ago? We've actually won national championship or 2.
He does get a little bit like that.
Everyone's got their own way.
Everybody's a smug jerk about their own thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Cowboys are gonna fly again to Atlanta to face the Falcons. A nightmare. No, you need to practice on your bird sound.
I don't even know what that would be. I got to figure that out.
Yeah, please do.
Dak's got it down.
So it was Dak's nightmare last year, but today we're going to get into the offense instead of the defense. The defense is tomorrow. So, Dave, tell me about this Falcons offense and what they got.
You don't need me to tell you about the Falcons offense.
We really don't.
You don't.
We've seen it.
You don't. You know what it is.
Anything different than last year?
Well, yeah, it is. It's different. Mainly, I mean, actually, it's kind of similar because Devontae Freeman got hurt in the second play of that game last year. He's not here.
Sean Lee got hurt too, and he's not here.
Good point. That would probably be the main difference for me is just their most versatile running back isn't there, but they do a good job of making up for it. I mean, this is the Matt Ryan and Julio Jones show, which honestly I started watching these guys and looking up stuff on them. I'm expecting them to be like the LA Rams and run 11 personnel like 95% of the time because they got so many receivers and they throw the ball around. They only do it 67% of the time, and they use their tight ends a lot more than I would have given them credit for. Yeah, Austin Hooper. But again, you know this team. Matt Ryan has thrown the ball more. He's 7th in the league in attempts, 353. It's the most by far of any quarterback the Cowboys have played this year. This is I don't want to call them one-dimensional, but they kind of are. They're going to throw the ball
without Devontae Freeman because that's their main toting running back.
Tevin Coleman he's a good player. I really wanted the Cowboys to draft him back when he came out. He's a good player, but they just don't lean on the run that way. Mm-hmm. They're 6th in total yards, 2nd in passing yards, 30th in rushing yards. They run for 90 yards per game. And honestly, I'm not even convinced it's because they can't. They just don't want to. They have Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, and Calvin Ridley. And even in Austin Hooper's their 3rd leading receiver. So they throw him the ball a lot too. They're going to spread it out, line it up. Love to do play action. Love to get they love to get Matt Ryan on the move. I know,
that's
right?
That's interesting.
He is an accurate passer on the run, either rolling out either direction or moving up toward the line of scrimmage. They run a boatload of play action, which is funny for a team that doesn't rush the ball that much. Mm-hmm.
You would think that would start going down, given his age. And
no,
everything.
he's surprisingly athletic for he's
how old is he now?
He was drafted in 07 or 08.
Wow. Is that old? I didn't realize he was that old.
He's been in the league for
I was guessing
long time.
7 years.
08. It was 08, not 07.
So 10 years.
3rd overall pick in the 08 draft. Yeah. He's got surprising mobility and athleticism for, he's more of that Peyton Manning, 6'4", 6'3", statuesque quarterback. Mm-hmm. But he can move pretty well. They love to get him moving and throw the ball. Julio Jones is Julio Jones. He's got 1,000 yards already. He's leading the league. He is 35% of their passing offense. And we're seeing it here with Amari Cooper. Calvin Ridley is having a nice season, but he's just gobbling up the attention that other people pay to Julio Jones. He's got 7 touchdowns and only 500 receiving yards. So a lot of receivers, a lot of stuff. Really, I watched this team, and the main thing for me, if there's one thing I want to impress on you that I really think is going to make the difference. Red zone. The Falcons. They are 7th in the league in red zone efficiency. They score touchdowns 69% of the time when they go down there, which is nice.
Which is interesting because the Cowboys have done really well stopping teams in the red zone.
I'm glad you said that. Also, it's even better when they're at home. They are scoring touchdowns on 88% of their possessions at Mercedes-Benz.
That's got to lead the league, right?
Easily.
88% in red zone at home.
At home.
Damn.
15 trips to the red zone at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this season, 13 touchdowns. Their 2 failures, both field goals. So they've gotten points every time they've gotten into the red zone at home this season.
That's amazing to me because you just said that they're pretty much one-dimensional. When you get down there, you've got to be able to push your way in and run.
And that's the funny thing is, and yet, Steve Sarkisian has been getting killed all year for not knowing what to do when they get into the red zone. Just this last week, they play Cleveland. They lose 28-16. They're down 28-10, so the game got away from them. But even either the third or the fourth quarter, they get down to the 5-yard line. They run it once to the 1, and then they throw 3 times. If you remember, you saw it week 1 against the Eagles. Same thing. I think the last play of the game, they try to do the fade. Happened in the playoffs. Julio should have caught it, but it's still a stupid call, in my opinion. I think in almost everybody's opinion. So
Broad is still mad about that.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, if you just call a better play, the Eagles never win the Super Bowl."
Kind of true.
And yet, they are still really, really good. So the discrepancy between road and home is pretty crazy here.
But that means they got to really suck on the road. If they're at 88% at home and 69 overall. Do they have a similar number of red zone trips on the road, or is it just a lot less that they get in the red zone on the road?
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't run the stats on the road. Well, just because they're playing at Mercedes-Benz, so who cares? Sense, yeah. I will say this. They're scoring 32 points per game at home and 21 away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a stark difference, yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad this couldn't be at AT&T.
You're not wrong. But so that really is the bit. Basically, point is, I'm not interested in like how they're going to line up Julio and how they're going to get him the ball. I basically think they're going to rack up yards between the 20s, and that's just what they do. If you go the Redskins Buccaneers game this past week, Bucs had 500 yards of offense. They scored 3 points. I really think it's going to come down to who executes better when the field gets short. We've seen that the Cowboys are good at it. Think back to the Houston game. The Falcons are clearly very good at it in their own stadium, and I really think it's just going to be a matter of like they're going to get their yards in between the 20s. They just are. If you can stop them.
There's been a lot of talk about last year's game, and I don't think that the Falcons' offense, just kind of blew them away. I just think that the Cowboys weren't doing anything on offense, and they kept getting good field position, and they kept added a field goal. I mean, I think the game was relatively close in the third quarter, and they just kept kind of adding points to the lead because the Cowboys weren't scoring any. So I think the biggest difference there is going to be. You have Vander, Esch, which helps. That's a better replacement for Lee, for sure. And then on offense, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. But, they didn't have Tyron Smith. If you remember, Tyron Smith did not play in that game.
Really?
And Dak remembers.
Kind of a buried storyline. Yeah. Tyron didn't play in that game.
And Zeke didn't play in that game. And Alfred Morris can take them so much there. So
I would agree with that. And, strictly Cowboys defense versus Falcons offense, it really felt more like death by 1,000 paper cuts than anything else.
Yes.
They couldn't account for Hooper. Like they gave up so many plays to him, which I think they'll be better this time around.
Hope so.
The Cowboys never drove for a touchdown. Yeah. They got a great interception by Xavier Woods that led to a touchdown, but they never drove for points.
Let me ask you this question. The big stark difference that you can see typically when you're talking about team success, particularly on offense at home versus on the road, is crowd noise. I can't recall from last year. What was the crowd like? Because I know by the time the game got really going, the Cowboys were out of it, and so you really couldn't tell by crowd noise. But I think I remembered there were a lot of Cowboys fans there, as there typically are on the road. Yeah. But it seems like just listening to our show and the number of calls we get from Atlanta and the people that interact with us from Atlanta, there seems to be a ton of fans in Atlanta which could change the dynamic a little bit of a home field advantage that Atlanta might experience in most games this season.
I wonder, and you said, I wish the game was at AT&T. I wonder if it's so much home versus away as it is turf, indoor versus
fast track versus not fast track.
Cleveland in November, Philly, the Link at night. I don't know, but this is a very classic good indoor team. But yeah, I mean the difference is.
I don't think I'll ever fully understand that whole concept of crowd noise, and when you're down there, I guess I just would have to get on the field and play and see.
I think
because to me, I mean, everywhere we go, it's loud, and I get it that okay, when certain offense is on the field, there's certain you hear cheering and stuff to kind of create noise and allow that to create some kind of muffle and not allow your players to be able to hear what call or where to line up. But still, is it that much different from place to place?
I think it is.
I used to think that way too, but I kind of agree because think about it from a standpoint of communication. Which team, which side of the ball needs to communicate even more? I mean, so yeah, you got this awesome defense, and you're at home, and it's 3rd and 12, and the crowd, and then the jumbotron is saying like defense and all that stuff. Well, the safety's trying to talk to the linebacker too, and so.
But they usually have hand motions that they can use very easily.
I'm just saying, if communication hurts the offense, I think it hurts the defense as well too.
I don't know. There are a lot more. I think there are a lot more checks on offense than there are on defense, and I think that defenses have a way of being able to do that. And by the way, there's something to practicing it every week. So no matter where you are, defense is probably going to have to deal with that a little bit more than the offense. But all that being said, I just think if you want to get a good example, go in a big cavernous place like the stadium. You're in the stadium, and just try to have Nick standing like 20, 30 yards away from you and just try to say something to him, right? It's hard. And now imagine crowd noise of whatever amount is now invading on that, and you're trying to talk to these guys, and you're trying to talk over this really loud crowd noise. And by the way, your offensive linemen are not facing you, so they're trying to pass. You're trying to pass messages between you and the offensive line that's not facing you to even be able to read your lips or see hand motions or whatever the case might be. I just think it's a challenge. That doesn't mean it's insurmountable, because teams do it every week. You see teams go on the road and win every week. You see offenses go on the road and score every week. I'm just saying it is something that's a challenge that you have to deal with and you have to account for.
It's a challenge, but to the point to where it would fully affect the outcome of the game, I don't think it goes that far, especially like when you go at practices and when they're training to face whoever team on the road. I mean, they blast that music so loud that they've been training for that during the week. So I don't know, but still something to be aware of and look out for. But let's go ahead and take our final break, and when we come back, let's keep talking about this matchup, and hit us up at Cowboys Break. We'll answer some of your questions.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox? The makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crockpot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True. They even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thinks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to the break.
Welcome back to the third segment of the break. Are we talking some underwear?
Always talking underwear here. Tommy John, you know what? It says, one of these reads says, protect your end zone with Tommy John. I like that one. But, you know, the thing about it is it's getting to be this time of year with Christmas, and you can order your own Tommy John for yourself or for your significant other, because they definitely have it, both men's and women's. You can also personalize it with Cowboys, and I know from experience that sometimes if you do wear the ones that have Cowboys down there on a game day, the team you want to win will win. It happened Sunday. So TommyJohn.com/Cowboys. Do some searching for some cool underwear.
You going to wash them before we head to Atlanta, or
inside out?
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Hey.
Okay. Rally cap.
He's taking that whole
rally cap,
that whole superstition thing to a new level. I like it.
Good. It's all good.
Gonna be some scratching happening.
Oh,
and
that's what dirty underwear does.
And we're off to the next topic.
All right.
We never really just get through it.
Okay. We're moving on. Dave gave us a great report on the Cowboys.
You're just in a silly mood today. Like, I like it when you like this, but
this
this
is
is
like NyQuil or
this is
something
different.
like that.
Yeah, this is different, Dave, right here.
Hopped up on cold medication.
This is the drugs.
He's over there
doing
with,
the effect.
Napkins over his face and stuff. Like, what are we doing?
Let's go.
All right, you talked about the Falcons' offense. Now, what would be the most troubling spot for the Cowboys defense going up against them?
I was going to bring that up before you went to the last break, which Derek, we talked about that during the bye week. Like, you know, would you move Byron Jones around more? I still don't think so, but if it were up to me, I would have him follow Julio Jones in this game. Again, I don't see it because that's not Rod's way. And also, you know, Jason Garrett, he loves to talk about this. And it's a big week for this, too, because it's the Falcons, which Dan Quinn is a Seattle disciple. Chris Richard is a Seattle disciple. They play their defense. Like, they don't, you know, the Seahawks never did that type of stuff. They're going to play their scheme, and they're going to play it at a high level. And so that's what I expect to see from Byron.
Jacksonville did that, too.
Yeah, well, it's a good point. Yeah.
Beasley still catching passes.
You're right, and case in point, that's if it were up to me, I would maybe not every play, but I would definitely try to have Byron Jones lined up on Julio Jones as much as possible.
I like it doing it in a way where it's like you don't really know all the time. You know, if it's just like I got him every play, well, then we'll go to the sideline and we'll figure that out. But sometimes they're doing it on second down, they're doing it on third downs. They're doing it the whole series. They didn't do it at all. Like, just kind of keep it guessing.
Yeah, I think the key is you just got to account for him. If you're not going to have Byron always traveling with him, wherever he lines up, make sure you don't get him isolated on somebody that can't handle it. And if he's got somebody across him that can't handle it, you better be giving him help. I just think they got to always be aware of where he is, because I've seen teams that make a conscious effort to take him out of the game. And it seems to me that in those instances, more often than not, they still may score some points, but it ain't nearly the kind of points that they score when Julio's going. And so I think they just got to account for him.
And anybody that plays fantasy football knows Julio Jones has struggled to get into the end zone, but he's on a 2-game streak right now.
He is.
I guess he's on Derek's team, if I had to guess.
He is.
So we'll see how that goes. I don't have to tell you about him, but he's fun to watch because not more so than anybody, Antonio Brown comes to mind, but like he's in a different spot every time. Like, he's hard to, when you're watching the All-22 and the camera's up there, you're like, where'd he go? Oh, he's the gigantic guy. He's in the slot. Well, he's on the left side. He's on the right side. He's lined up in line. He's back off the line. Like, he goes everywhere, and it's always different and fun.
The funny thing is you used to be able to say, look for the big guy. but Mohamed Sanu is equally big.
Yeah.
And so if you're just looking for the big guy, you might get the wrong guy because they got some big receivers.
Another thing, they're not afraid to experiment over there because, like, Calvin Ridley will line up in the backfield from time. Like, he took a sweep against the Browns the other day.
Just a flat,
and
toss it to him.
Mohamed Sanu is probably like the best wildcat quarterback in football. Obviously, you don't want to do that a lot because Matt Ryan's so good, but he does that, and he can actually throw the ball
Was he
too.
a college quarterback?
I don't know if he was a college quarterback, but he's got an arm. Like, you know, we always talked about Dez. Like, he's got an arm, and I want to say he's got like 3 passing touchdowns in his career. Like
Wow.
he has
impressive.
used that with a lot of success over the years. So definitely something to be mindful of. But I mean, when you have an MVP caliber quarterback, I don't know how much you're going to do it. Which you know, Drew Brees is playing so well, and Jared Goff is having a year, and Todd Gurley, but Matt Ryan's on pace for like 5,500 yards or something
something crazy.
He's completing 71% of his passes. Like he's having a nice year for sure.
All right, I see a lot of people asking about the kicker and kind of concerned about Brent Maher, which to me, I don't feel any concern as of right now. Although he's missed how many now? 4?
3 in a row.
Is it
4 on the year.
4 total. But to me, okay, you guys
three
clearly seem
games.
concerned.
Hold on,
3 games in a row. I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm
You're
worried.
right. 3
But
games
a total of how many kicks?
4.
4, right? So
Well, so what?
I'm worried. I mean,
seriously, are you at a worrying point?
I said this to Nick. I said this to Nick at the last game. I was like, I asked him, are you at the point where you start looking at other kickers?
Okay.
Because I'm nervous, and when you start getting nervous, when the coach starts getting nervous about the kicker to the point where it affects his decision making, that's a problem. And I wonder, I don't know that, but I wonder if it's getting to that point where he can't really rely on him enough that he doesn't make decisions that are based upon not trusting the kicker.
Yeah, and also more than that, when he first got the job, we talked about what he would do differently than Bailey. You know, you hope that he makes the kicks. Obviously, that's line one, as Garrett would say. But also kickoffs. You want to make sure you just blast the ball out of the end zone. Last game, I don't know what the issue was, but it was there was nothing about wind because Philadelphia had no problem getting touchbacks either way.
I think they did every time, right?
Every time.
Yeah. 6 out of 6, I want to say.
because Jordan Lewis is now the kick returner. He didn't get one return. So, but Maher had a hard time getting there, and you're kind of, you know, it's playing with fire to keep trying to make sure your guys run down there and make the play. So that's an issue to me. Is like, okay, what's up with the kickoffs, and now we're missing kicks. I mean, it's a little bit of concerning overall.
I'm not ready to cut him, but I'm definitely concerned.
Yeah.
3. What? I mean, 3.
How can you not be?
3 misses in 3 games.
I guess I'm not. I'm
That's so shocking from you too, because you're quick to be Miss Worrywart over there.
When he misses one against Atlanta, she'll be in here on Monday like, fire this
Gotta
guy.
go.
Get him out of here.
I guess because I look at it as an overall. I mean, how many games have they played so far? 9. So out of those 9, and then taking into account how many times he kicks, and now looking at how many times he's missed, to me...
But they don't operate, not to cut you off, but they don't operate that way because Bailey had it for 7 years, and then he was being, evaluated over right now. That 42-yard kick is alarming to me because that one just went close. It was bad.
Yeah,
that looked like my golf shot. That was just like way over there.
That one was bad.
Which I was going to say that it was the 40. He missed from 42 in Philly.
Yeah.
And so you look at he's missed 4. One of them was from 50 plus. Okay, big whoop.
Yeah, throw that
outdoors.
Yeah.
Hit the post.
Then I think he's missed 2 from 40 to 49. That's last week, and then way back in Carolina.
Yeah.
But so combine a 42-yard absolute shank with a 38-yard miss indoors against the Titans.
That's significant.
I'm not ready to cut him, but I certainly don't.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Why I feel this way is had the Cowboys been scoring touchdowns and then that happening, I would be like, yes, this is an issue. But because it's not that way, I feel that I'm easygoing when it comes to
But
him.
shouldn't that be the opposite?
Yeah, it should be the opposite.
No.
Once again,
you're like,
I get it.
We don't trust these guys to get in the end zone, so we need a dude who's going to kick the field goals.
I hate when you start having to rely on one person, and it's like if everybody puts their part and do their job, and
but that's his part. His part is kicking the field goals and
but he doesn't
kicking
get any
off.
help around him.
He's not supposed to. His job is to kick field goals.
You know what I love about Amber is Amber this is the way it's supposed to be, and that's just not how it is for any team in the NFL. Like, nothing is how it's supposed to be. This league is designed for everybody to be mediocre.
Yeah.
So if everybody did their job,
she feels for the kickers.
Yeah,
she likes the kickers.
I do the kickers.
I feel for them too. It's a crappy. I mean,
it's really not a crappy job.
It's
but it's
crappy.
a tough spot.
It's crappy when it doesn't go your way.
Yes,
there's no other job.
But you can make a ton of money
Listen
to just
how you guys are
basically
talking about him.
kick a few times every game.
There's very few other jobs where 82. That Maher's percentage right now is 82. There are very few jobs where 82% sucks. Like that's
surgeons,
writers.
Yeah,
I'm more concerned about scoring points.
Definitely not.
Writers, no. You got a much lower percentage.
If I hit 40, I'm feeling
You're
great.
feeling great.
Pilots.
I want 6 points first before even an attempt to 3 points.
Okay.
So
Well,
give me those 6 points first.
See how you feel after Sunday's
he
game.
starts missing that 7th
Right.
point, and then you got a real issue.
Then I would have an issue. But as of right now, just freaking score 6 points
All
first, and then we talk.
All right.
All right. Well, that is all the time we have for today.
Dave, bring that Dave every week. Like every show. Happy Dave, that Dave.
With the Kleenex or without?
With the Kleenex, everything. Exactly the same.
For Derek Eagleton, Nick Evan, David Hellman, Amber Garcia, this has been Cowboys Break on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?